Patricia Hamilton, and today I've got the pleasure of speaking with Rochelle McDonnell. And Rochelle is a creative business strategist. She's an author, a speaker, she's a coach, and also an intuitive animal communicator. And Rochelle is, she's got a unique insight into creating and sustaining a connected, abundant life, bringing healing, connection and synergy into all areas of living. Currently, Rochelle is facilitating healing and meditation in the Perth foothills at her property, which is home to 2 beautiful horses. So welcome, Rochelle.
Thanks,
and yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So the topic we have for discussion is the great disconnect. And before we get started on that, I'd just like to know a little bit more about your background and your stories that you could just briefly share with our listeners and watchers.
Oh, goodness me. It's hard. On the stories, so many people want, your background, your story, and I'm so focused on the future that I forget to give the background and the story. But, I've been a business coach, strategist, had my own businesses, always been keenly interested in nature and the connection of self to all things. And I think, I had a time there where I had some real struggles with health myself, and that really restricted what I could do and how I could live my life. And so working through that and just really finding that connected self to, source, God, energy. We have so many different words because we're from different cultures, different backgrounds, different experiences in life. So that's kind of my background. Is like, it's been very varied, very different. But it's been a journey of life experiences. I think that's brought me to this moment of having an awareness for myself, which I try and share with other people.
Yeah, so with the pandemic and the lockdowns and all the restrictions that have taken place since this time last year up until now, it's had a lot of effects on people, from their mental health and well-being to their businesses, to relationships, you name it. It's had such a wide impact. And I'd like to know what your take is on what you mean by the great disconnect and how that has manifested.
I think the great disconnect has been shown in lots of different ways. First of all, there was the disconnect from community, okay? And we need community because community is like a barometer of where we're at. So if we have become, in that isolated time, we're shut down from that connection, that interaction, where we test and measure ourselves, where we're challenged in what we believe and what we do, and we also give and receive in that space. So that's been one disconnect. And I think the impact of that has led to a disconnect within self, because we tend to lose self when we become isolated. And we know that because we see that in the prison system when people are put in solitary confinement. They really, really struggle with the connection to reality and connection to self. So this has been a global disconnection from community. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we've faced. There's a lot of other issues that underpin that and underlie that. But I think that's the biggest challenge that we've faced. And that connection is on again, off again. In Australia, lockdown's down, we can now reconnect. Oh, lockdown's back, now we got it up now. So there's this kind of yo-yo effect in that emotion, in that intellectual space, in our understanding space, but also in our spiritual, intuitive, energetic space. I think we can be on a bit of a yo-yo there as well. It's going, what's going on? And we have a sense of loss of control. And when we feel that we're not in control, then we start to shift in the way that we see ourselves and we see the community around us. And I think that's been the biggest disconnect.
Although I have to say, I think a lot of people that I've been talking to say that they've had more time for self-reflection. They've had more time to perhaps examine themselves in a way that they haven't really had time to before. And maybe that has raised more questions and more need for self-inquiry in this process. So
yeah, I think that's true. There's been a community group of people that have sat in that space. I know for me, I did as well, but it's allowed that time for reflection and for consideration. But now as we move past that, is how do we move past that disconnect? How do we move into this people keep calling it the new normal. There's no new normal. It just is what it is in this moment. And we have to look at, particularly if we're intuitive, energetic, spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, teachers, stand in that space of wanting to create change and empowering people into change, is how has that disconnect affected the way that you communicate, that you live your life, and now you're working with your clients and with the people around you as well. And that I think is one of the biggest challenges that we're going to see unfold in the next few months.
So in terms of people wanting to do more work to explore their connection with higher consciousness, with source, how do you work with people? What's your approach to facilitating that process? Because I know you run courses and you run meditations, and I know we've talked about it before in previous discussions, that there are many different approaches that are evident outside, in the world of self-development and personal growth. And there are some really good programs, and there are some also not so empowering approaches. And I think a lot is coming to the surface right now in the public space around what is really empowering and useful for people, and what is keeping people locked in, and perhaps not really empowering people to step into their own truth and their own sense of knowing who they are.
Yeah.
So just be interested in your take on that.
Okay, how long have we got? Because we'll be here all day. I think there's a couple of things. I mean, we're all on a journey of exploration, and we're all looking for information, experiences that we can take and that we can apply to ourselves, that work for us. So I think everybody's journey is going to be very unique and be very different. And I look at it that journey is neither right or wrong. It just is. And it's like, what can you take with you that you've learned from this space, or that modality, or that teaching, or that program that you've done? And what do you need to leave behind? And I think what tends to happen is, what I've seen is, like, we're on our path journey and we're heading down that path. We see something over there, we jump off our path, go over there and spend time over there. And then we go, oh, where am I going? What's my purpose now? We get lost because we jump from the path that we were on. So I kind of say to people, just stay on your path and bring it into your journey. Don't stop your journey and jump into somebody else's space and journey. Bring it with you. Take those tools, put it in your knapsack, and keep walking. What's heavy and doesn't suit you, doesn't work for you, just let it go. Just hold on to those things that work for you, because our connection energetically, intuitively, spiritually is going to be different based on our culture, based on our ethnic background, based on our life experiences, and how we process information. Because some of us are very analytical and see things very factually, and we need to have everything in a nice linear mode. Others experience and process information more on an emotional level. Does it feel good? What does it make me feel like? And we need all of that to make decisions about what's right for me or what's right for you. So when I'm working with people, I explore that a little bit and go, okay, well, where are you? What's the challenge? What's the roadblock? What's the reason that you're coming here? And most often it is I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm studying this modality, or I'm studying this teaching, or I'm following, I'm sitting under a teaching of a guru, or somebody that they respect and admire. But I don't either feel right, feel good, I feel a bit confused, or I'm still not sure what my path or my purpose is. So we explore that. And for me, it's like how you see God, source, universe, energy is going to be completely different to perhaps the way that I see it, because who I am and my life experience is going to have a different influence on that. It doesn't make it more right or less right or wrong, and it doesn't change the experience that you have. So I work in ways that connect a way that is right for you. Take the time, and often we don't take time just to sit and be still and to open up and to have someone to chat about some of the challenges that we're having and question. You know, if you're sitting working with a teacher or working through a program, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to really go, deep dive into some of the challenges or the questions that you have, because one, you're either in a group situation, you don't want to be seen to be, a little bit different and a protagonist in some way, or the opportunity is not given to you to do that. So we explore that. And at the end of every session, it doesn't matter what I do or how I work with people, is I take you out and we find a spot on the property and you just sit and just be still and allow everything that we've talked about just to kind of bubble away and just open up and allow your own connection to bring to you the consolidation that you need, the affirmation that you need, whatever it is that you're needing in that moment. Because it's not my journey, your journey is not my journey. I can just shine the torch, show you the way, and provide an opportunity for you to sit in that space and allow that energy to flow to you and through you and for you, so that you receive what you are asking for. And because you've asked and you're receiving, and then it's allowing it to become part of all that is you.
Yeah, I really get that, because I know in my own life just recently I've been, I've had the time to really look back and integrate through memory and through understanding, what the process has been in my life journey, and giving more reflection and care to that and understanding of that within my own unique life and self and prism. And I think that's what this time affords the opportunity for us to do that, because it is, in a way, the disconnect from the norm, the daily life, the travel, etc., is actually creating the opportunity for the real connection to take place. And,
absolutely. Yep.
And as you say, it's like recognizing each of us is absolutely unique, and therefore how our lessons that we've experienced and learned are going to be, special to us. And so I think that's where the focus needs to be now, rather than on, accumulating more knowledge or tools and skills from the outside and from other people. It's more how to integrate that into what's going to be really meaningful for me, where I am in my life right now. And, being able to trust that process.
Yes, that's the key, isn't it? It's trusting that you have what you need to move forward. And what experience is that we're not taught that we're worthy to hold that trust for ourselves. We're taught through our education and through our culture or our religious background or our lack of, that we must trust other people. If we get the affirmation, the confirmation from somebody else, then it must be okay. And it's going, you know what? I need to trust me. I need to trust my connection, my way of being in this world, and trust the gifts that I have and the talents and the skills that I have, recognizing that everything that we've picked up along the way, everything that we've learned, we've studied, we've acquired, we've experienced, shapes and forms us in this moment. What do you want to do with it? And are you willing to see yourself through the eyes of God, Source, the universe? Are you willing to see yourself as being worthy to step into that space? Are you able to see yourself as the beautiful part of nature, creation that you are? Are you willing to acknowledge and see that you are a reflection of that life-giving energy, Source, God, the universe, and that the universe lives in you and breathes in you, and that the universe is you? And when we start to see that and recognize that, and we can embrace that and see the beauty of who we are, even though we've got all the bits and bobs that we don't like about ourselves, is that when we strip all that away and see the very pure essence that you're a reflection of all that is, of the creation, of the energy, of the universe. It's all you. So of course you're worthy to step into what you've been given to do. Of course you're worthy to receive healing and to move in the abundance that is yours to move in. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about the joy of life, to have the abundance in your relationships, the abundance in your workspace, the abundance in the nature that is around you, in all of those connected places, is that you move freely and you're giving and receiving, just like breathing. You're breathing it in and you're letting it go, and you're giving it away, and you're breathing it in and you're giving it away. And that's all healing is. You're breathing in what you want and you're allowing it to flow to you, and you're letting go what you don't want. Because we have the capacity to heal ourselves. We have the ability to connect more deeply to each other and to raise that global consciousness to a place where and I'm going to use the word serving, and a lot of people are going to go, oh, but we serve each other in service to ourselves. Yeah? And when we do that, something shifts and changes. Because as we give and receive for ourselves, we can give and receive to others. And I think that's the shift that we need to create. And that's part of the disconnect that's happened. Now it's time to break that down, break through that. Have a look at the words that are being used. How have they filtered through into your understanding? Where are they sitting in you, in your emotional space? And how have they impacted on your connection to who you are and what you do and bring to the world, and your connection to that life-giving energy, God's source universe? Let's break that apart, and let's just allow the pure connection to that life force to flow in and through, so that we can create and be what we want to create and be.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I've been attending a lot of webinars and tuning into what people are sharing. And one of the pieces of information was basically that we are the channels, we are the vehicles, we are the prisms through which life force flows, and the changes that are occurring on the planet are flowing through us. We are the embodiment of that.
Yes.
So what you're saying, I'm getting, is that when we really honor that and really respect that we are that temple, then we become much clearer vehicles for the flow and transformation of the energetic field to take place through us.
Yeah. But first you have to know that you're worthy to stand there.
Yeah.
And we've not been taught that.
Yeah. Well, we've been taught the opposite.
Yeah. And we've been told we have to sit under this teacher or follow this modality or move this way. And it's going, no. We're just worthy because we're here.
Exactly.
We're alive. Life is living in that knowing and breathing that energy and being part of that energy. There's a beautiful piece that I wrote, and it just popped into my head. It was saying, the healer is not the hands of healing. It is the mirrored reflection of the hands of Source. And if we live that way, the world will change. We will change. Yeah. We will receive healing. We will move to a space of greater being and becoming and that joyful excitement of life itself. And that's my mission. That's where I want to take people. That's
awesome. Well, thank you, Rochelle. I think it's been really inspiring. I always feel inspired when I talk to you.
Thank you, Patricia.
There's a lot more that we can share.
There is.
So we'll have another conversation next time. So thanks everyone for watching, and you can find out more about Rochelle at RochelleMcDonnell.com, and we'll put up some information on the webpage as well for you to follow up about her courses and meditations.
Wonderful. Thanks, Patricia. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye.